So when I used to hear that term growing up, that all black people look alike, that usually came from white white people in general. They always said that we look alike, but more so specifically from white police officers. They always said that. And teachers. You remember I told you the teacher had black and white photos on her table, or I don't know how many, and she's struggling here trying to figure out which one is me. I walk up, I can distinctly tell that I was not even in the pile. You know what I'm saying? And and she was a white female teacher. She's here struggling. Oh my goodness, which one? Just carrying on because they were in black and white back then, right? Remember black and white mug shots. So I can guarantee there are a lot more people innocent in jail than not, and I can guarantee a lot of people of color were executed when they were innocent. We all know that, or falsely accused of rape and this and that and the other. Okay, so I knew that I knew I would be a target as well when I start talking, because everybody thinks that they always talk about free speech, but free speech is for just specific people. It's not for black people, more so. Let me just stay on black people. Black people are not supposed to have free speech because black people are not considered human beings in America. Let's be clear. There's documents to prove it. Okay, so we're not supposed to be talking and saying a word. We're just supposed to be submissive and subservient. Okay, and I refuse to be. Okay, after what happened to my dad, I said, oh no. He had to be careful because, he had a family already. He had a family and he had to take care of us. And, he'd rather come home to his wife, my mother, than to be dealing with all that other stuff. Okay, than trying to, make people understand him and, because he spoke clearly and effectively, but that didn't matter. Even though he wasn't, he didn't finish school, he still spoke clearly and effectively. My mom had a little bit of an issue with her speech, but, she got things done. I can guarantee you that. Okay, so, and like I said, when we grew up in our communities, we hardly ever saw the police. Okay, they avoided us, and we were fine. We were able to take care of ourselves in those communities. We rarely had a break-in, at least around where I was. There was rarely a break-in. I know my dad had an issue with his truck one day, and that's the time I had to call the police because he was all upset. I think someone had broken into his truck, and he was upset, and he pulled out a rifle, and he was just, he was just upset. A lot of people, I mean, my dad worked so hard for stuff, and then for somebody to just, come in and just break in and stuff, so that got him all worked up. But then he calmed down, because he did have an alcohol problem as well. So that sometimes alcohol does affect you. Alcohol, which is a poison, does affect your personality. Okay, but you just have to manage it. The medication we take is poison too. Okay, so we just have to regulate that. So when you're taking and the weed is laced, okay, just get over that. All right, if you don't know where your fucking weed is coming from, trust me, it's laced. All right, so or your street or your pills and shit. If you don't know where those pills and shit are coming from, chances are they're laced. All right. So, but anyway, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about this. But the point of the matter is, we are still considered black Americans are still considered property. It doesn't matter, what we believe. All right. That's why people feel as though they can ban stuff, they can erode stuff, because they think it belongs to them. Everything and like I said, it's just a handful of people doing that too. But they influence people under them. They influence people under them and convince them that we don't deserve to have property because we are property. So that means that they can do whatever they want with our property. Because you remember they were burning it down at first. The KKK was. They were burning down our communities first. Then they started eroding it, taking the hospitals out, taking the grocery stores out, taking the schools out, taking the libraries out. And now what they're doing is just building all these large stadiums and commercial buildings. So there was a master plan. Now I remember too, when I was working in this particular city, this homeless guy, because everybody, the people on the street over there when I worked, they knew that I meant business when I was out there. They knew I wasn't going to be bothering them for no goddamn reason. Okay, and so the homeless people kind of knew me too, because I was always around. Like I said, I'm always patrolling around. And they're starting to congregate downtown because the woods that they used to live in are being torn down for some type of commercial building or something of that effect. So they're being pushed out of the woods where they used to stay, and they're just into downtowns, because they have nowhere to go, right? So I remember this guy, this homeless guy. He was a white male. He came to me. And he said there is a particular site plan that he found, that he noticed somewhere. I'm not going to say where he told me where, but I'm not going to say. He said, there's a particular site plan already in the works and already in ink, signed, sealed, delivered as to what they're going to do to certain communities. Okay, and it's not going to be housing, he said, because he's homeless. Okay, a lot of these homeless guys are veterans, and see how we treat our veterans. And a lot of them, the majority of them have mental illness as well. And we know how we treat mental illness, and we know how we treat people that have mental illness. Perfect thing. Perfect. It was a perfect storm. And that's one thing about social media too. Social media will uncover some of this behavior, this treatment of people. Because everybody's, like I said, everybody got their phone in their hand and they're capturing this stuff. So having your phone in your hand can do harm and good. That's just the stuff you have to weigh and neutralize. Well, how important is it for you to be taking pictures of people eating peacefully in a goddamn restaurant, or to see something that's totally unacceptable behavior? Okay, we'd rather film people, minding their own motherfucking business instead of using those cell phones for proper documentation, because this stuff is documented. It doesn't go anywhere, by the way, even though they try to hide it and flush it all the way down into the internet, into clouds and that kind of shit. It can be uncovered if you get the right people who know how to do that kind of hacking. And a lot of people that know how to hack and shit, you know where they were. All right. So when I started doing this, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. But I knew I had to do something. Okay, and I knew I wasn't a coward. All right? Yes, I can get hurt because I am a human being, I can be hurt just like anyone else. Okay, that's what happened to a lot of black female icons back at the Renaissance back in the day, whenever that was. I don't know particularly. And it shouldn't matter. We shouldn't have a Renaissance at a particular time. We should have a motherfucking Renaissance anytime we want it. Every day of the week. Okay? But it's going to change. It has to. Okay? But unfortunately, we allowed our planet to be, at a state of devastation. And so we're going to have to reap through that. And a large size of people are going to be wiped out. But we do reincarnate, but at the same time, they're going to come back to a dead planet. A lot of them are responsible for that as well. So, wow, now, if nobody wants to use that plot, then I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. If y'all don't get this, I don't know what's going on. Peace and love. I'll be back.